loan sa isa ating table kapag nag-loan yung isang customer. Diba? So, dependent yung loan sa customer. Okay? Attributes. Okay, napag-usapan na natin yung attributes na yan. Ayan. And we have here different types of attributes. Simple attribute, composite attribute, single valued, multi-valued, stored attribute, and derived attribute. Madami. So, simple attribute cannot be divided into simpler components. So, example nito, gender of the employee. So, simple attribute yun. Na hindi natin siya pwedeng i-divide into simpler components. Composite attributes, this can be split into components. And an example of this one is address of an employee. Kasi di ba sa address, we have for example, Tansabuak Marinduque. So that particular attribute can be divided into three. Like for example, the barangay, the town, and then the province. Okay? Pag sinabi naman natin single valued, can take only a single value for each entity instance. Single value lang. Hindi siya pwedeng magdoble. And an example of this one is what is the age of an employee. Kasi wala namang dalawang age ang isang employee. Di ba? Tayo bilang person that can be an employee has only a single age. Wala tayong ibang age. Isa lang ang age natin. Okay? Kaya siya ay single value. Then we have here the multi-valued attribute. The multi-valued attribute can take up many values. Marami siyang pwedeng maging value. Like for example, skill set. Skill set of the employee. So, pwedeng maraming skills ang mga employee. Hindi lang isang skill ang pwedeng magkaroon ng employee. So, multi-valued yun. Pag sinabi naman natin stored attribute, attribute that needs to be stored permanently. Stored permanently, ibig sabihin yun yung isang value na hindi pwedeng ma-update dun sa ating database or sa table. Kung ano yung data or na-input sa kanya from the beginning up to the end of time, yun pa din siya. Like for example, yung date of joining of the employee. Halimbawa, kung ano yung date kung kailan nag-start o kailan yung start niya sa isang trabaho dun sa company. So, hindi pwedeng mabago yun kasi kailangan namang lagi siyang nag-uumpisa dun sa trabaho niya. Diba? So, yun yung, for example, yung first day niya dun. So, ang first day ko dito sa MEC, for example, yun. So, that is way back 2015. So, that cannot be updated or that cannot be changed. So, those are what we called an example of what we call stored attribute. Then, we have here the derived attribute. Attribute that can be calculated based on other attributes. Okay. So, pag sinabi natin derived attribute, ito yung pwedeng makalculate, makompute base sa ibang attribute. And as an example, we have here the years of service of the employee. So, yung years of service of the employee that can be derived based on the years or yung present year kung nagtatrabaho siya, and then the starting year kung kailan siya nagsimula. Diba? So, ang gagawin lang doon, calculate natin with the subtraction. So, subtract natin from the present to the starting year of that particular employee para ma-derive natin kung ilang taon na siyang nagsiservisyo sa isang company. So, that is an example of a derived attribute. Okay, so we have here other examples. For simple attributes, we have gender. Gender attributes can simply be female, male, and transgender, and others. Composite attributes, and okay, sinabi ko nga kanina, ito yun, single valued, okay, multi-valued, stored attributes. Okay, so those are the types. Then we have the relationship types. We already know this one. No? We have one to one, one to many, many to one. So I think that would be just the same. Ano? Halos magkapareho lang itong dalawa na to. And then the many to many. One to one relationship. Ayan. One person has one passport. And a passport can be owned by only one person. One to many relationship. And when a single instance of an entity is associated with more than ayan. Ano natin to? One customer can place one or many order. Ano? And uh, many order can be placed or can be ordered by a customer. Only one customer. Ano? Hindi naman yung order mo, order din ng iba, di ba? So, sa'yo lang na order yun. Okay? Then we have the many relationship. So, parang this one is kabaliktaran lang nitong isa. Di ba? So, sinasabi natin lagi na two-way yung siniset natin na basis para masabi kung anong relationship nila, di ba? So, from this one to this one, and pabalik, di ba? From the customer to order, and order to customer. Hindi pwedeng one way lang yun. So, kung titingnan natin yung many to one relationship, ito yung kabaliktaran nito. Kung pabaliktarin natin yun, di ba? At ito naman, ay kabaliktaran ng one to many kung magsisimula tayo sa college, di ba? So, one college can have many students, and many students can study in one college only. Okay? So, yan. Then, we have the many-to-many relationship. Okay? Alam na natin yung mga examples niyan. We have many students can be assigned in more than one project. Ano? So, more than one, ibig sabihin, many yun. Diba? And a project, more than one project can be assigned by or pwedeng merong mga assigned doon na more than one student or many student. Okay? So, yan. So, dito naman, pinag-usapan yung degree of relationship. Okay. So, yung degree, yung antas. Ano? The degree of relationship type is the number of participating entity types in a relationship. Ano? Kung ilang entity ang nagpa-participate dun sa isang relationship, dun sa ERD natin. So, the number of participants in the relationship type is called the degree of that relationship. Therefore, the degree of relationship indicates the number of entity types involved in the relationship. Yun nga, sabi ko nga, paulit-ulit tayo. Sige. Ayan. As for an example, we have here this diagram. So, we have one entity and we have one relationship. Okay. And this is what we call the recursive or the unary relationship. The recursive relationship is when the same entity type participates more than once in a different role. Kapag merong higit sa isang role yung isang entity dun sa ating ERD. Like for example, itong subject na to. Ano? This subject is a prerequisite for another subject. Diba? So like for example, itong information management na subject ay pwedeng prerequisite ng capstone project. Like for example, diba? And those uh, that information management and that capstone project are the same subject. Ano? Pareho lang silang subject. Ano? So, yung isang subject na yun ay pwedeng maging prerequisite ng subject na isa. Ano? So, yeah. These types of relationships are sometimes called unary relationships. Ano? The relationship may be given role names to indicate each participating entity type's purpose or in a relationship. Ano? Ito, a subject is a prerequisite for another subject. The example shows that the subject may be a prerequisite for another subject. And that is the same entity. Ano? Kaya meron silang unary relationship. Next one, we have binary relationship. So, ibig sabihin ng binary, dalawa. So, dito naman meron tayong dalawang entity na nag-share sa iisang relationship. Ano? And this is an example. We have the teacher teaches subject. No? And the subject can be taught by teacher. So, meron lang silang relationship na dalawa. Meron tayong dalawang entity dun sa relationship na teach. Ano? So, yun. So, the teacher teaches the subject. Okay? Pag meron pang tayong ternary relationship, pag sinabing ternary, merong tatlo. Ano? Tatlong relationship. So, a relationship of degree is called ternary kapag merong tatlong entity. So, we have here textbook, faculty, and then class. Uh, ang relationship natin na nakalagay ay teaches-uses. So, a textbook, paano ba ito binabasa? Faculty teaches class. Ano? Or, faculty use textbooks in teaching a class. Parang ganun. Okay? Faculty uses textbooks in teaching a class. Ano? So, yun yung relationship nila. So, ginagamit daw ng faculty ang isang textbook para makapagturo sa isang class. The example shows that the relationship was participated by three different entities that are connected to each other. Excuse me. Okay? So, yun. Then we have here the quaternary relationship. Meron tayong apat na aman na entity doon. At ito, we have the example. We have here teacher, entity, course material, subject, and the student. And their relationship is the study. Ano? So, ano ba ibig sabihin nito? Student studies for a subject using a course material under a particular teacher. Ano? So, parang mula dito, 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 dito. Ano? So, si estudyante ay siyempre nag-aaral siya ng isang subject ano, under ng isang uh, part, uh, gamit ang isang course material under ng isang particular na teacher. Yun ang ibig sabihin itong quaternary relationship. So in this example, the four entities take part in the relationship and have to coexist to make the relationship possible. Okay? So yun yung quaternary relationship. Then we have here cardinalities in the relationship. I think we have already discussed this one. Okay? So, nandun yung cardinalities, yun yung maximum and minimum value or yung range na pwede maging input ng isang particular field or column dun sa ating table sa database. Okay? Okay? So, nakalagay dito, minimum cardinality is the smallest number and the maximum cardinality is the greatest number of instances allowed to participate in the relationship. Okay? Then we have here the two types of notation for how we are going to draw our entity relationship diagram. We have here the Chen style, and then we have here the crowsfoot notation. Ito yun. So, ayan na, isa-isa naman natin na nakaraan yan, di ba? So, the Chen style, we have here, okay, and tatandaan na lagi yung entity ay nasa loob ng rectangle, nakasulat sa isang noun, ang pangalan, then naka-uppercase. So, dito hindi pala siya naka-uppercase. Then, we have here a diamond for the relationship. And then, yung notation, numberings, ano, yung pag nakita natin na 1 and n ang nakalagay, ibig sabihin nun, yun ay 1 to 0 or more. Ibig sabihin yung cardinality ay 0 or 1, 0 or more. Ano? 0 or more. Ano? Pwedeng mawala yung value ng isang entity na yun, ano? With regards to the relationship of that or of those entities. Ano? Then we have here MN. Ano? MN, yun ay zero or more. No? Pag sinabi nating MN, yun ay many to many ang relationship. Diba? Then yung 1-1, yun yung 1-to-1. Ano? Like for example, in this one. Okay, ito, a customer places several orders taken by the waiter. Dito naman, a customer may place one or more order. Bakit nandito yung ano sa gitna? Siguro nagulo lang to nung ginawa kong PDF. So, hindi ito dito sa gitna. Takes, uh, dapat yung relationship ang nandito. Hindi yung cardinality ang nasa loob. Okay? Yung cardinality ay piniplace dito, dito sa baba noong mismong uh, degree of relationship na meron dito. Kung one yan or many, o yung number of relationship, dito nilalagay yung cardinality. Naligaw lang siya nung ginawang PDF. Okay? And we have here the crosspot notation. Parang table form siya. So, we have here, excuse po, customer entity and then the order entity. Sa customer entity, yan, kung mapapansin niyo katulad ng mga pinakita ko last time, nandito sa head part noong entity, yung pangalan ng entity, at dapat siya ay naka-uppercase. Hindi na uppercase dito. Uppercase dapat yan. And then sa baba nun, nandun yung mga attributes. At kung mapapansin niyo, itong una, ito yung primary key niya na sinisignify ng isang asterisk. So, pag may nakalagay na asterisk, ibig sabihin yun yung kanyang primary key. Tulad din dito sa kabila. So, ang primary key nitong entity na to ay customer number. And then, we have the relationship. Wala ng relationship dito. Ito ay place, ang relationship. Places. Customer place an order. An order can be placed by a customer. And based on the number of relationships, so we have here a customer, ito ay one to many, di ba? One to many. So we have one customer can place zero or more order. So ibig sabihin dito, the order is a weak entity. Kasi pwedeng si customer ay mag-exist kahit walang order. And then, that particular order, kapag walang umorder na customer, walang order, di ba? Yun. So, kaya siya ay zero or more. Kaya may bilog dyan, zero or more, yun. So, yun. And an order can be placed by only one customer. Okay? Yan. And we also here, another example. Ayan. Kapag ito ay kinonvert naman into the Chen's notation style, kaya kung papansinin nyo, medyo matakaw sa space kapag ginamitan nyo ng Chen style. Kasi maglalagay pa kayo ng bilog-bilog at meron pa mga additional lines para i-connect yung attributes dun sa entity. But if you're going to use this one, so tipid tayo sa space. Then makukonek pa natin ng maayos yung ibang entity dun sa mga entity na nandito na. Diba, meron pang entity dito sa labas. So, yun. So, ito ay katumbas nitong nasa taas. Pareho lang sila. Pareho lang silang dalawa. Now, let's have an example in building an ER diagram. So, meron tayong example dito. Okay? So, yan. About a country bus. Okay? So, a country bus company owns several buses. So, yung isang country bus daw, country bus company, ay maraming buses na in-own. So, makita natin doon sa statement na yon that meron na silang parang one-to-many relationship. One to many relationship between the bus company and the bus itself. Bus company and the bus company, the bus. Okay? Each bus is located to a particular route, is allocated to a particular route. although some routes may have several buses. So, ibig sabihin, yung bawat bus na ino-own ng company na yun ay na-allocate sa kanya-kanyang ruta. Ano? Merong mga, for example, uh, south-north road, merong pa route papuntang north, ano? Mga ganon. Ano? But some of the buses may have several routes. Ano? So, ibig sabihin, sa isang ruta, maaaring merong, baliktad pala yung sabi ko kanina. Sa isang ruta, ay maaaring magkaroon ng one or more na buses. So, meron dong one-to-many relationship. Each route passes through many towns. Okay. So, yung ruta na dadaanan ng mga bus ay, sabi niya, passes through many towns. So, maraming towns or cities ang pwedeng daanan ng mga bus sa bawat ruta. One or more drivers are allocated to each stage of a route, which corresponds to a journey through some or all of the towns on a route. No? So, ang isa o higit pang mga driver ay naka-allocate sa isang route, to each stage of a route na nakakorespond sa isang journey or biyahe through some or all of the towns in a particular route. Parang katulad dito sa Marinduque, mula Manila papunta dito sa Lucena pala, hanggang Lucena, bago makarating dito sa Marinduque. So, 'di ba, sa jackliner, sa jamliner, parang ito yung example na 'yon. So, sa isang bus ay maaring magkaroon ng one or more driver, So, 'di ba yung conductor doon, pwede rin siya yung mag-drive doon kasi minsan baka pwede silang magpalitan ng position, kapag napagod at inantok yung driver, for example. So, yun. At hindi pwede mag-drive yung driver na nagda-drive, pwede ang pumalit ay yung conductor. So, pareho lang din silang driver. Parang ganun yung scenario. Na meron silang ruta na susundan from, saan ba yun? Pasay ba yun? Yung nasa Buendia? Ayan. Hindi ko sure. So, yung sa Buendia, papuntang Lucena. At sa daanan nilang daraanan, marami silang mga towns or cities na daraanan sa ruta na kanilang susundan. Okay? So, each bus is identified by a registration number and can carry different numbers of passengers, since the vehicles vary in size and can be single or double deck. So, yung isang bus ay mayroong registration number. So, yung registration number na yon, pwede nating iset yun as primary key of that particular of the bus entity. And a particular bus or a bus can carry different numbers of passengers. So, may relationship yung bus sa passenger na one to many. And a bus can be either a single or double deck. So, dito sa Pilipinas, walang double deck na bus. May sa ibang bansa may ganun. Hindi ko sure. Meron na ba dito? Hindi ko lang sigurado. Baka meron na din naman. Okay? So, yun. A bus can be single or double deck. A routing number identifies each route, and information is available on the average number of passengers carried per day for each route. Drivers have an employee number, name, address, and sometimes a telephone number. So, anong una natin kailangan gawin based on these particular statements? So, itong particular statements na binasa natin can be said as the business rules from a particular organization or yung bus company na ito na pinag-uusapan natin. So, una, we need to identify first the different entities that participate in a relationship. Yun ang una natin kailangan alamin. Ano-ano yung mga entity? Di ba, alam natin, sinasabi natin, na yung mga entity ay mga noun. Noun siya dun sa business rules. So, as a result, yung mga entity natin ay, we have here the bus, the route, the town, the driver, stage, and a garage. Saan yung garage kanina? Parang hindi ko nabasa yun. Ito pala. Some of the towns have a garage where the buses are kept. Yun. Hindi ko pala nabasa yun. Nakaligtaan ko nung binasa ko na yung sa bus registration. Okay? So, yan. Ng entities natin, we have bus. Meron tayong route or ruta, yung mga town. Then, we have the drivers. We have the stage. Ano yung stage? Then, we have the garage. Ano? So, nakita yung stage dyan. Tingnan natin. One or more drivers are allocated to each stage of a route. Sa totoong scenario, ano kaya yung stage? Hindi ko mawari kung ano siya. Anyway, continue natin yung ating ginagawa. Next, we need to identify the relationship between an entity to another entity. So, since nung umpisa, nalaman na natin yung mga entity na yan. Ito, meron tayong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kasunod natin